Namaste everyone, very happy to be back here, and Namaste Dr. Professor Gauri ji. Very happy to be in your presence. We all look up to you and the kind of work that you have done for these many years. Before I go on to the questions, I want Gauri Ma to chant something in Samskritam and also speak one or two lines in Samskritam before even we go into this conversation.
अवश्यम् अवश्यं नमस्काराः धन्यवादाः सर्वेभ्यः आदौ तावत् सरस्वतीवन्दनेन आरप्स्ये अहं या देवी सितपङ्कजा सनवरासीनाक्षमालाकरा वीणाझङ्कृतिनष्टसर्वजडता स्मेरप्रफुल्लानना या वाक्यार्थपदप्रमाणविभवा या सर्वभाषात्मिका तां वाचामधिदेवतां भगवतीं वन्दे सदा भारतीं सरस्वतीं प्रणम्य अस्मिन् समारोहे अत्र साहित्योत्सवे लिटरेचर् फेस्ट् साहित्योत्सवे कोयम्बतूरुनगरे अहं वेस्टर्न् घाट् इति मत्वा नाम पश्चिमघाट् पश्चिम अथवा वारुणीदिशाम् आश्रित्य यः घाटः वर्तते तैः अहम् अत्र आहूता इति महान् मे सन्तोषस्य विषयः तत्रापि अपरः अयं विशेषः यत् मातृश्री अनन्तलक्ष्मी अत्र प्रश्नकर्त्रीरूपेण मां काञ्चन प्रश्नान् पृच्छेत् इति मम सौभाग्यमिति मन्ये धन्यवादाः
I think more of these literary fests should probably be in the Bharatiya Bhashas too in the future, for sure. And before I go into the questions, there are so many amazing things that are there about Sanskritam, at least in the little bit of exploration I've been exposed to. One, of course, is most of the knowledge systems that we have, that we are exploring today, have Sanskritam as the basis. And as a person learns Sanskritam, you see that a lot of linked knowledge actually builds up. As I told you, with our Gurukulam children, it happens. They pick up one word, they know in many of the Shastras where that word actually comes. And I've seen this in a very deep manner in Sanskrit scholars such as you, because when you quote from these verses, you actually link so many Shastras. So that way it's a very profound thing. And now people are talking about Sanskritam having a lot of computational value as well, and how we can build, say, even in the modern AI world, how we can actually build large language models around Sanskritam. So there's huge potential for Sanskritam. But before all of these conversations, sometimes we often look at Sanskritam as a very serious language with a lot of just philosophy content into it. Are there lighter content things in Sanskritam that you can share with our audience?
That's a very good thing. I think I can start with a puzzle for all of you. I can start with a puzzle, a riddle for all of you in Sanskrit. And as you think might be, that it is all related to philosophy or spirituality and all that, just try to solve the puzzle. न तस्यादिः न तस्य अन्तः न तस्यादिः न तस्य अन्तः मध्ये यस्तस्य तिष्ठति तवाप्यस्ति ममाप्यस्ति यदि जानासि तद्वद. Normally, when such a puzzle is asked,
Nilesh ji is
oh, Nilesh ji has raised hand. If you know the answer, yeah, please. So that's what I was fearing the same. Why? Because na tasyadihi, so anadi, not this anadi, and na tasyantaha anantam. So we think only of Brahman because Sanskrit gets associated with spirituality. So that is a debunking theory now. I mean, it's not only spirituality. You just, na, there is a word. Na is the beginning letter. Na is the end letter. Madhye yaha tasya tishtati ya. Tavapyasti mamapyasti. Nayana.
Oh.
So it's such a simple thing, But when it comes to Sanskrit, we always feel, oh, Sanskrit, it must be, something related to Anadi Ananta Brahma, right? So this was a lighter thing for you. And one more thing, For example, I quote from Banabhatta. Banabhatta was a great author, 8th century, Harshavardhana's period. And when he was on his deathbed, he was writing Kadambari. Kadambari is a fiction. Kadambari is not a Kadambari. It's a fiction, it's a Katha. And it was incomplete. So he had two sons and he wanted to assign that leftover work, for completion to one of his sons. So he asked both of them, he called both of them. And from his deathbed, he could see a barren tree outside, He could see it from his bed. So he just asked his elder son, what do you see there outside, Then he explained, Shushkaha Vrukshaha Tishtati Agre. It's very simple. Shushkaha, barren, dry. Vrukshaha, tree. Tishtati Agre, stands there, stands in the front. Okay, he said. He called another son, the younger one, Bhushana Bhatta. Apparently, he completed his Kadambari, Uttarardha. So he called him also. The thing won't change. The description manner would change, right? The thing won't change. There was a barren tree out there. So the way he explained was, Neerasa taruvara vilasati purataha. Same meaning is the same. But the shushkaha vrukshaha tishtati, so many of the harsh consonants, the tavarga, shavarga, the murdhanya, and all that, instead of that, Neerasa taruvara, dantya, litilasanam dantyaha. So the dantya swara makes it softer. So, and that also gives philosophically how you can view a certain object, like a half-filled glass, we normally quote that, half-filled glass, whether it's empty or filled. So this gives you a positive approach as well. So this is the beauty of Sanskrit. Even the harshest of the thing, the driest of the barrenest of the thing could be explained in a very beautiful manner.
Excellent, excellent. When you said puzzle, I remember something that I studied in school. It talks about the conversation between Shiva and Parvati. So when Shiva knocks the door,
Kastvam
Shuli, Mrigaya Bhishajam, Neela Kantaf Priyeham, Kekam Ekam Kuru. So he says, Kahatvam, who are you? She asks, and then he says, Shuli.
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 And, let me explain. So Shuli, so Shiva, when he replies that Shuli, that is one who holds Trishula in his hand. Shulam asya asti iti shulin. But shula also means pain or agony. So for example, we have udara shula, mastaka shula, right? Vedana. And therefore she took it in that sense, Parvati, because she didn't want to, it's a narma vinoda. She didn't want to let him in. And therefore she said, Murgaya Bhishajam, go and search for a doctor. Why have you come here? You should better going to a doctor, right? And then Neelakantaha Priyeham. Then he says, oh, I am Neelakantha because of the... See, this has, all these verses, they are filled with our cultural ethos also. These are not myths, but there are so many stories in our culture. So the Ksheerasagara Manthana and Kalakuta Halahala he drank, and therefore he's got Neelakantha. But Neelakantha also means a peacock. One whose neck is Neela.
So
right?
she says, Kekam Ekam Kuru.
Kekam Ekam Kuru. Go to the forest and go to our CIRS thing, and there are so many peacocks there, So Kekam Kuru, do the Kekarava. Yeah. Then Sthanu Mugdhe. He says, Sthanu, oh Mugdhe, oh innocent girl. I am Sthanu. Sthanu is one of the names, and that also refers to the Lingodbhava story of Shiva. In the Skanda Purana and Shiva Purana, we have Lingodbhava. So the Arunachala Lingam, right? So that is a pillar-like thing, Arunachala Lingam. Sthanu is a pillar or a trunk of a tree. So she takes it in the meaning of trunk of a tree. And she says, no, the tree doesn't talk. Na vadati taruhu. Na vadati taruhu. Then he says, Jiviteshaha Shivayaha. I am the very, soul of the life of Shiva. Shiva is Parvati, but Shiva, interestingly, also means a jackal, a fox. Jackal is male and Shiva is female, so a fox. Then she says, Gachatavim, go to the forest. What business you have to do here? So in this manner, they are having Narma Vinoda. So let them all protect you all. Let these both protect you all. That reminds me another, this Shiva Parvati, this couple is, in Sanskrit language and all the Puranas, a perfect family. We are discussing about the family unit in the morning. It's not on the education system for the Vokism and all. It all starts from the family. So in the family, there are two siblings, Ganesha and Kartikeya. They are also having a fight. And then Ganesha is crying there. So she calls him, hey, Ramba. Kim Amba? What is that, mom? Kimartham rodishi katham. Why are you crying? Karanau luthati agnibhuhu. Ganesha has long elephantine ears, and therefore he says, Agnibhuhu, one who is born of Agni, that is Kartikeya, Skanda, Shanmuga, Muruga. Okay? So he is pulling my ears. Karanau luthati agnibhuhu. Now, as a mother, she has to question Muruga. Kimte skanda vicheshtitam. What mischief you are doing? Then what he says? Mama pura sankhya krita chakshusha. Skanda has Kartikeya, Shanmukha. So there are 6 mukhas, naturally 12 eyes. So this Bala Ganesha is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 12. So he was counting my eyes, I pulled his ears. Now again she will have to ask Ganesha, why did you do that? Naitatte api uchitam gajasya, he gajasya, te etat charitam, na uchitam, this is not proper. Then he says, nasa mimi tembame. He is measuring my nasa, my nose. That is the trunk of the elephant. Nasa mimi tembame. So this is the way the siblings are having fight, and she can't resolve that fight. So Sa Shiva Patuvaha. In Subhashita Ratna Bhandagara, there are so many verses under the category of Patuvaha. Krishnaha Patuvaha, Shivaha Patuvaha, Durga Patuvaha, Ganeshaha Patuvaha. So the first section would be like benediction. So in that Patuvaha category, you go, it's mind-boggling, very nice. Amazing. So you can make a story out of it. And this is happening in every family. Siblings are fighting, and the mother can't resolve the fight, and then she just laughs it out and hugs both of them together, right?
Wonderful. So, generally the perception is Sanskritam is a very difficult language to learn. Maybe some audience votes, what do you feel? How easy is it to learn Sanskritam? Easy or difficult? Okay.
Difficult.
Difficult, easy, both I'm hearing. Easy.
That's a very good way to explain it. I mean, unless you go for swimming and you go into the pool, swimming is always difficult. If you stand on the shore, it's always difficult. If you go into it, then it's fun, right? So any language for that matter. What has happened, unfortunately, let me tell you that also, because I also come from the same educational system as you all have come, right? So we, in the very first lesson of our Sanskrit class, they will start us Magab. Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha, Prathama, Ramam, Ramau, Raman, Dvitiya, Ramida, Ramam. So then people feel, students also feel it is just learning by heart. There is no fun in that. But if at all, after some time, I mean, not let them mug it by heart or gachami, gachava, gachama, gachasi, gachata, gachata, then it doesn't make any interesting thing for learning Sanskrit. But through Subhashitas, through stories. Now, how the Guru, in the Gurukula, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, you are also running a Gurukula. So when a 6-7-year-old child used to go to the Gurukula, how he used to study? Not Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha, through stories, through songs, right?
Through plays also.
Through plays
dramas
also.
And plays.
Yeah, through plays also. I mean, in Sanskrit also there are so many plays. Like you have, some games like you can't, you have to recite only in the tables of 3, tables of 5, and where you don't recite, like 5, 10, 15, and then you have to write
Ram, Om.
some Rama or Om, something like that. So such type of games we can play in Sanskrit also, for numbers also, but then this is not happening, and that's why this becomes a very grammar-based study. I may tell you, when we are talking to our children in our homes, do we teach them our mother tongue as this is the karta, this is the karma, this is the kriyapada? We don't teach. We just talk to them and they learn by hearing. So when we say Atmavare Drashtavyaha, Shrotavyaha, Shravana, why all the philosophical systems in the Vedanta also we concentrate more upon Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. Shravana is the basic, the foremost step which we have lost today. So the more we listen to, then the interest will come up, We don't listen to Sanskrit. At least, what you can listen to, that Baldev Sagari used to do that, Iyam Vartavalihi, Idanim Samskrita Vartaha Shruyantam. So, at least that's something of that. So, first comes Shravana, then comes, Pathana, then Lekhana. So, Lekhana comes at the end, but Shravana has to come first. We have lost that tradition of Shravana and Pathana. That's why I think it becomes difficult.
Very true. In fact, in the journey of Samskritam, I've been reflecting upon this. Like, for example, when a child learns, say, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, when you look at the names, it doesn't give any mapping. Sunday, at least sun I know. Monday, moon I know. But what is this Tuesday? It is actually Twihi, which is a German god, which is associated with Mars, and that is why it's called Tuesday. There's such a roundabout method which takes a long time for the child to actually learn the connection, and that it is actually referring to the planets that we figure out only in, say, 20 years or 25 years of age. So what is this importance of introducing this Samskritam in small ways, even at a very younger stages? If you can share about...
So the varas, as you said, the days, Somavasaraha, Ravivasaraha, and in Karnataka we used to say Bhanvara. So Bhanuvasaraha. Bhanu is another name for sun. So you can say Induvasaraha for Soma, for Somavasara, you can say Induvasara, for Kujavasara, for Mangalavasara. So the small ways of learning in Devanagari or in Sanskritis, you learn the synonyms also thereby, and that helps you a lot. So, and that connects you also to your planetary system, you say, or your culture, festivals, everything. So,
very good.
These are the small ways.
Very true. So, Dr. Gauri is actually the academic director at SIF. And she has done some very phenomenal research on the mantras from the Vedic tradition. And she was just sharing about how she's explored so many of these mantras, taught them to various people. So what is the significance of these mantras and learning them and then bringing them out to the larger audience?
Okay. Now the name of my thesis was that the topic was Vedic elements in Puranic mantras and rituals. So Vedas, to read Vedas and understand Vedas is very difficult. Even for a Sanskritist, reading Veda and understanding without Sayanacharya's Bhashya is very, very difficult. So I go with Sayana and then I can understand that. But we have so many Puranas, and when we do some pujas, etc., especially even the Satyanarayana Vrata Katha, and we do Sankalpa, and then we do puja and all. In the puja, there is Shodashopachara puja. And in the pujas, every puja, be it Ganesha puja or Durga puja or Vishnu puja or any other puja, while offering Gandha, we will recite Gandha Dwaram Duradharsham. Now what is this Gandha Dwara Duradharsha? This comes in the Shri Sukta. Those who know Shri Sukta, this comes in the Shri Sukta. Now what is it that connects Shri Sukta with this? We are worshipping, say, for example, Ganesha. Then what this Shri Sukta is doing in this Ganesha? Because there is a word Gandha. So, what Puranas have done, my hypothesis was this, that when Puranas quote such mantras in any of the rituals which we normally do, we have lost track of the Vedic. Vedic mantras. We no more recite the Vedic mantras. When I take the Vedic Suktas webinar, I don't recite with the swaras because I was never trained in that.
Yeah.
I am a university bred student, not a Gurukula bred student. So I have not learned the Udatta, Anudatta, Swarita. I can't recite with Saswara. So I just recite it as a shloka. Huh? So now we have lost that swara. But at least the meaning thereof, the mantra should be percolating down in our tradition, because as the Mahabharata says in the very Adi Parva that Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samupabruhayed Bibhetyalpashrutat Vedaha Mamayam Praharishyati. So the Vedas have to be implemented, have to be endorsed and scaffolded by the Puranas and Itihasa. Otherwise the Veda Purusha is also afraid that people might misinterpret it, Vedic mantras. And this is the tradition of the Vedas which the Puranas have upheld in some or the other manner, and therefore this mantra would come there, irrespective of the meaning. Similarly, while doing the akshata, akshataihi or akshatabhihi, or akshataha samarpayami, akshataihi pujayami, akshata is both masculine and feminine, okay? So in fact, feminine refers to akshata, that is a virgin girl, whereas akshata as a pullinga is the grain of rice, okay? That is the other way around. So when you say akshataihi pujayami, there is a mantra recited in the Varuna Sukta, in the Vapi Koopa Tadagadi Pujanam. When you are building some Vapi, Koopa, Tadaga, you know, some water reservoirs, lakes and wells and all that, there you do Varuna's puja. And there also, while offering akshata, you will recite the mantra Akshannami Madantaha. Now, Akshannami Madantaha, when I traced it back to the Rigveda, it refers to Indra Sukta. And that Indra Sukta, that Akshan has nothing to do with Akshata. It is from the root Asha, Asha to enjoy, from which we have Ashanam, okay, Ashana, Pipase and all that. So Akshan, Ami, Madantaha, Devaha, O Indra, these Devas are enjoying your company while eating and drinking with you. So that has got no connection with this. But because of the phonetic similarity, Akshannami and Akshata, the mantra is put. At least in this way, the Vedic mantras could be preserved. So that was the whole and sole objective. And secondly, the Purana writers were not the high Brahmanical class. I mean, the Puranas were told by person to another person, and then that person, while telling it to the third person, he will add some more things, you know, and that's why Puranas went on swelling. The literature of Puranas is too vast because of, there are so many stories and anecdotes, the regional variations and all that, but nonetheless, the Puranas preserved the mantras, and therefore they are important.
And you talked about the root words. This is such an important aspect of Sanskritam. We always say about the root words. For example, say take the word for school, right? School is a place where education is offered. What is offered in a school? It is education. And what is the place of education? It's a school. And who goes to a school? It's a student. After finishing school, where do they go? They go to a university. So all these words, university, student, school, knowledge, all these are sort of cognitively dissonant in English when you listen to it. Whereas if you take in Samskritam, if you take the root word vid, then it is like Vidwan, it is Vidyalaya or Vishwavidyalaya, Vidyarthi. These are all connected. So how does this, root word play a significant role, in learning things?
I can quote, you asked a very good question, which is very close to my heart, the text, which is Nirukta. Nirukta is a science of etymology. Basically, it evolved as one of the Vedangas. Yes. You were mentioning about the IKs, the 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, 4 Upangas, and 4 Upavedas. Yes. Together, they make Ashtadasha Vidyasthanani. Okay? So, Nirukta was basically Vedarthaha Angyate Gamyate Anena iti Vedangam. So, for the easy understanding of the Vedic mantra, Nirukta was introduced primarily. But there is a principle in Nirukta, Tatra Namani Akhyata Jani. All the names have been derived from verbs or roots. And therefore, if you go to the root, then you understand really what does it convey. And then there are so many examples. I'll tell you one example which is very famous and that has been quoted by Nirukta. No, Nirukta doesn't quote it, not Yaska. Vadhu, for example, the word Vadhu. Vadhu is a bride. Okay, Vadhu is a bride. Now in that, phonetically, if you look at the word Vadhu, the root Vadha to hit, to smash, to kill, that is there. But can you derive the word Vadhu from that root, though it is phonetically resembling? No, you should not. There is another principle, Artha Nityam Pariksheta Samskaram na Adriyeta. Artha Nityam Pariksheta. What is the root meaning and what is the word meaning, they should tally. And therefore, the word Vadhu will be derived from root Vaha. Vaha to carry. Uyhate Grihat Griham. From Pitur Grihat, Pati Griham ya Uyhate, one who is taken from her father's home to her husband's home, she is called Vadhu. So Dwara, for example, the door. Dwara is door, right? How can you derive the word Dwara from what? The word Daraha, meaning wife, is derived from the root Dru, Darayati. Ya Darayati Bhratrun, Sa Daraha. Before marriage, 3 brothers can stay together. After one's marriage, they separate. So Bhratrun Darayati iti Daraha, that's another thing, that the word Daraha is Nitya, Bahuvachana and Pullinga. Kalatram is singular, neuter, and Bharya is feminine, for wife who has to be feminine. I'm not talking about transgenders, gay and others. Then, for a feminine wife, we have words in all the 3 genders in Sanskrit. We have only W-I-F-E, wife, only one word, right? Or spouse at the most. Anyhow, so Dwara is from Vru Varayati, with agama of the Dakara, Varanagamat. Hamsa, for example, how Hamsa is derived? Hasanat Hamsaha. And Hasya is always referred to as white. In fact, there are stories in Bhoja Prabandha, it's a poetic fancy. All good things are white, all bad things are black. Okay. It's a binary thing, concept. So all good things, Hasya is good, Sukha is good, Punya is good. So they are all white.
You have Shukla Karma and Krishna Karma.
Yes, yes. So, but then Varayati, that which stops and prohibits, if you don't want the salesman to enter, you bang the door on his face or her face. Varayati, you stop the person from entering, that is called Dwara. So this is the beauty, So Varayati is to stop, to prohibit, and Dwara does exactly. So there is a functional similarity, if not a phonetic similarity.
So that way, everything that we see around is derivable from a root word. Yeah. And in a way, it also represents a very action-oriented society where every word is derived from a verb and not just a noun. Action-oriented society.
Bhava pradhanam akhyadam.
Yes. And when we look at Samskritam literature, for example, recently our Gurukulam children were exposed to the works of Vedanta Deshikar, where he talks about the chess game and then those verses that he wrote. Yes. So like that, there are so many complexities also in Sanskritam. One thing, of course, is a simple language to learn as a beginner. But as Guru Priya Chaitanya was sharing, it also gets complex in some way. Does. So can you bring out those beauty aspects of Sanskritam where some complexities can be.
I can bring out. In fact, let me quote one example. I don't remember the exact full verse perhaps. I'll try to. So this is from a text on chemistry. Okay. So that also answers, is there scientific text in Sanskrit? If at all you want to ask that later. So there are so many scientific texts also in Sanskrit. So this is called Agastya Samhita. And in that, Samsthapya Mrinmaye Patram, like that, the verse starts, So, how to create a battery cell. A battery cell. So, this is the description of that. And then, Samsthapya Mrinmaye Patram, and then Neelagriva, Neela Grivam Chitva something, and then Chadayet Ardrabhi Pausubhi. So that is the verse there. Now Neela Griva is, just now we were referring to Neela Kantha, right? Neela Griva is either Shiva or a peacock. Now, does the person, the Agastya Muni, want to say that you have to cut the throat of the peacock and put it in that
Actually, many
earthen jar?
people, think it's that that
Yeah,
rasa is
because
prepared through peacock.
little knowledge of Sanskrit would lead you to conclude to that or come to that. So that's a logical derivation, but this is the complexity of it, that Nilagriva, because it's a scientific text, and this knowledge should not be abused or misused. Otherwise, there is, like, terrorists also are knowledgeable, but but their knowledge goes the other way, destructivities, right? So it has to be safeguarded. Basically, it is patenting or encrypting your knowledge. This is encrypting your knowledge. So Nilagriva basically is not just the throat of the peacock, but the color, the chemical which has the color of the throat of the peacock, and that is copper sulfate. So you have to put copper sulfate, CuSO4, into that.
Don't cut a peacock. And
Don't cut a peacock's neck and put it there. I mean, especially scientific text would have it. One, to protect the knowledge, and secondly, just to trigger your brain, in what way you can interpret it.
Very true. So I think we'll go to some audience questions, but
Yeah.
since Shefali ji initially started by thanking Rajiv Malhotra, I also thought that this Samskritam intranslatables has become such an important aspect these
Yes.
days. As many Samskritam words as possible, if you are able to use it as they are, for example, dharma,
Yeah.
and for many of these aspects that we use in life, then that becomes a very important, or getting us started on that journey. Because when we say dharma, it has so many, when you can't translate it as duty, responsibility, religion, sustainability. Contextually, it varies, and it has a very lot of deep meaning to it. So that way, that could probably be a starting point where we look at some English words that we casually use and try to retain the Sanskritam words as much as possible in the day-to-day conversations as possible, and when we write books and other things. So now we'll go to some audience questions.
Before
Maybe you can add to it.
I would like to add, somebody was asking, is it very difficult or easy? I didn't reply it the way I wanted, I should have. So now I'm getting some insight. So I thought, all the time something is going on in the mind, right? So have you seen any Sanskrit dictionary, be it Peterson or Apte or Gune or anybody, that they claim we have recorded in this dictionary all the Sanskrit vocab? We can't do that. I mean, you can have 10,000 words, 50,000 words in some dictionaries, but Sanskrit dictionary, we can't enumerate, can't count the words. Uncountable number of words can be created, because I tell you, this Sanskrit language is like a structure. It has a structured pattern of Prakriti and Pratyaya. Prakriti Pratyayehi Pratyayabhyam Sughatita iyam bhasha. Asa iti vaktum shakyate. So, for example, you take Jala, water. Okay. Can you name some other synonyms of Jala? Neera, Apa, Toya, Vari, Ambu. Okay. So here itself we got some 5, 6. Now for water, WATER, there are in Nighantu, on which Nirukta is a commentary, there are 101 words of Jala. Ekashatadhikam Jalanamani. Okay. Now, you take any word of Jala, maybe from that 50 are obsolete. They are not in use now. Okay. In those other 50, remaining 50, some 25 are currently in use. Okay. At least 25 names you have now. Now you have the Prakriti, Jala or Ambu, whatever. You add a Pratyaya to it. What is the Pratyaya? Ja. Ja is Jayate Asmat. Jale Jayate Jalatva Jayate. Jalajam is Kamala, born in water, is Kamala. Any other word for Kamala from Jala? No. From Jala, Saroja, Neeraja, Navakanjalochana, Kanja, Mukhakara, Kanja. Kanja, kam is Jalam, kam nama Jalam. K, Jayate, iti Kanjam. So you can have any number of words for Lotus, lotus. If you add that Ja Pratyaya, remove that Ja Pratyaya, add the. The is one, Dadati. Jalam Dadati iti Jaladaha, cloud. For CLOUD, one word, cloud, you can form at least 20 words. So that enriches you, that is the vocabulary you can create, and therefore this is very favorite. Why everything was written in Sanskrit? No matter Sahitya or Vyakarana or even the scientific texts, why they were written in Sanskrit? Because there was lot of scope for improvisation, introducing new words by coining them together. Now you remove that the pratyaya also and add their dhihi or nidhihi. It becomes a sea, an ocean. Jaladhihi, jalanidhihi. There is a beautiful verse. I will go on like this. So there is a beautiful verse. Shanmukha, we just mentioned, he has 6 heads. Now once he got very upset, with Ganga, who is flowing from the... So Ganga is flowing from Shiva's head, right? And Shiva, Parvati and Ganga are co-wives now. Now no two co-wives can stay together very happily, right? Right from Anadi time. So now this one says, Shanmukha says to Shiva, "Oh father, why are you holding this Ganga on your head? Dokyavar chadvun tevlay tila. So leave her aside, Then Shiva doesn't. He is in yoga samadhi. He won't reply. So Ganga says, "Ka gatihi mama chiram murdhni sthitaya vada." I have been staying in the head of your father, in the jatas, for years together, eternally. Ka gatihi me vada. Then Kopa Vesha Vashat Ashesha Vadanaihi Pratyuttaram Dattavan Patho Dhir Jaladhir Payodhir Udadhir Varan Nidhir Varidhi. With its 6 heads, 6 mouths, he uttered 6 words for ocean. That is the beauty. And for that we have made nice use of our, you can say, narratives, Puranic mythology, whatever. Now, when I say this to the students, then I ask them, there are not only 6 words, there could be many more. Can you think of somebody else who would recite more names of sea like this at a go? Ravana. And exactly there is a verse on Ravana. Once Ravana was sitting there on his throne, and a messenger comes and tells that Rama has built a setu on the ocean and Rama will be coming here. So Satyam Baddhaha Apannidhihi. So the 6 nouns are there. Patho, Dhir, Jaladhir, Payodhir, Udadhir, Varan, Nidhir, Varidhi. That's a tongue twister also. You can say it loudly, And then 4 more names in the 3rd line. Apannidhihi, Kilaladhihi, and Jalanidhihi, and Abdhihi. So 4 more and this 9. So this was given as a Samasya Purti. If you give, the last charana is given as a Samasya Purti, and you compose the first 2-3 charanas to make a meaningful verse, So this was a literary pastime in the olden days. It was not just a study of philosophy, not just a study of Iko Yanachi and Echo Yava Yavaha and Adaing Vriddhi, Adai Gunaha, Vriddhi Radai, etc. Not only grammar, some fun and pastime, So that was wonderful. So these are the ways to inculcate the ruchi, the love, the liking for Sanskrit. Sanskrit is very, very what? I won't say it is easy. No language is easy. Grammar of any language is not easy. But then learning Sanskrit, the process itself is so easy. We can make it more charming.
And because it's enjoyable, it becomes easy that way.
And nowadays, we have so many like small videos also by Samskrita Bharati and so many other things. Way back in some, I think, 15, 20 years back, Bajaj Auto had done their advertisement of Bajaj Auto, their scooter, and they went to Mattur, in Shimoga district, a Sanskrit-speaking village, you must have heard, that was first popularized by Siddharth Kak and Renuka Shane in Surabhi, that program, Surabhi. I had taken some 70 students and some faculty to Mattur near Udupi and Shimoga, and we have visited that. We have really experienced that. But then they did this advertisement. When I teach Sanskrit in the Launchpad Sanskrit, which I recently took, I showed them the video. And margaha avaruddhaha, agrena gantavyam. What is there difficult to understand here? Margaha avaruddhaha. The way is blocked because marge vrikshaha patitaha. Tree has fallen down. He doesn't understand this fellow. He is on the bike. He just goes on and on and on. And then he says, oh, and then he says, oh, this Bajaj Auto will take you to the journey of thousands of year-old language.
Wonderful, wonderful. In fact, I was talking, one Sanskrit scholar was mentioning, he went to a village and narrated a story in Samskritam. It was a Kannada-speaking village. And then at the end of this, he asked, like, how many of you understood the story? All the children raised their hands. The elders said, we didn't understand. Then he said, even though the children, both of you didn't know Samskritam, the children didn't have the preconceived notion that they don't understand Samskritam. So because 75% of all Bharatiya languages are connected to Samskritam, when the elders felt they won't be able to understand Samskritam, so they didn't understand a word of it. So I think it's the mental barrier that
mental blocks.
Yeah, box. We have time for maybe one question or one or two questions, maybe.
What can we do to make Sanskrit teaching compulsory in schools?
I can't say that. I would say Sanskrit should be made compulsory. What can we do? It has to be Rajashraya, it has to be government. But there could be a people's movement.
Yeah.
I mean, we have faith
Private
in
schools
people's
can
movement.
start
Yeah.
hiring teachers. Yes.
Yeah. We have, collectively, if we can do a movement, then as no bindi, no business, it became so popular.
No school,
right?
no school without Sanskrit.
So no Sanskrit, no school. So that has to be a people's demand, But what has happened is, one or two generations, they haven't learned Sanskrit at all. It was all convent education, English medium education, and only 2 languages, 3 languages. I studied 4 languages, and nothing happened to me. I mean, I can speak in English also, I can speak in Marathi, I can speak in Sanskrit also. So it is not that Marathi, I studied in Marathi medium school, okay, Parle Tidok Vidyalaya. But then that doesn't hamper my English talking or English conversational skills. So it's not that 3-4 languages will be burdening on students and all. I mean, if we have a Gujarati family, my brother, my sister's Bahu is Gujarati, so her children can speak Gujarati at home, Hindi and English outside. If they are learnt any more languages, they will speak that also.
Very true. I think one generation before they could naturally speak many languages.
Many languages. And we are Indians by birth.
Polyglots.
Polyglots. At least 2 languages we know. At least 2 languages. So it's not that difficult. We have, that mental block that 4 languages will be too much burden on a student. It is not.
In fact, my father worked in a bank, so I have lived across the country. So every state I go, 3 years I have to shift a state. So I learned, of course, Tamil, Kannadam, Bengali, and Malayalam, Kannada, and all
I
that.
also know 6 languages, and now Koracha Malayalam because I'm here in Kerala. Sanskrit? What?
Sanskritam and Devanagari.
No, Devanagari is a script. Sanskritam is a language. Now, Sanskrit can be written, if you go to any manuscript libraries or any libraries which have manuscripts, region-wise, the script will differ. In Kerala, we have the Sanskrit manuscripts written in either Malayalam or Grantham. In Karnataka, the Sanskrit will be written in Kannada, Hale Kannada, whatever it is. In Maharashtra, it will be written in Devanagari. In North, it will be written in Sharada. So these are the scripts. Devanagari is a script. Yeah. You can write English also in Devanagari. I mean, script is just a medium. This is just a phonetic, the morph. This is not phoneme, this is the morpheme, you know. So you can write, I go to school in Devanagari. Right? So this is, script is just a medium of writing, and language is the medium of talking. Bhasha. Yasyam bhashyate sa bhasha. Not for pratyayas. For words, Amarakosha is the best, because Amarakosha gives you all synonyms, paryayavachi shabdas. But if you see Nirukta, they will give you homonyms as well. Not only synonyms, homonyms also.
And sorry, yeah. And we find that all Indian names are underlined in red. We call ourselves, we are pretending when we call ourselves IT superpower. I live in Bangalore. Actually, no one is made in India. You know, we talk in English, but we've not made English ours, because, you know, I find my peers saying, oh, Oxford Dictionary has brought, what Oxford Dictionary? Let us see, for instance, we still say idol. Every Indian says idol. Say murti, say vigraha. So for this, we need to translate Indian words.
So we are not coming up with our own dictionaries.
We have to do that. Unless we do that, I believe we cannot move forward.
True.
Thank you.
Can I ask you just one question to both our next scholars? There are many people here in the audience. There are many young parents also who would like that they would like to teach their children Sanskrit, and this can only be Sanskrit can only be popularized if we can make every house a small mini Gurukul. So how they should go about, teaching their children, learning themselves, what is the easiest way out with the advent of technology right now, how they can learn Sanskrit. And the second thing is that what benefits they will experience in their lives, because Sanskrit is a Dev Bhasha. And, it is mother of all languages. So what benefits they will get, once they learn Sanskrit?
Yeah. So the first question, what they should do. Every house could be a Gurukula. First start reciting some shlokas, some stotras of Adi Shankaracharya. Kanakadhara stotra, or Narmadashtaka, Achyutashtaka, Krishnashtaka, or even this Manobuddhi Hankara, Nirvana Shatkam and all that. So first let us, our tongue, it must be twisting like that. And then slowly, as Ramanujacharya, the great Acharya, Vaishnava Acharya says, once you go recite something, Swayameva Artha Nigrahanaya Pravartate Janaha. Then later on, person himself is inclined to know the meaning thereof. So the first thing the parents should recite, the stotras or shlokas, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, something, okay? So that is the first question. And the second, what effect does it have? There are so many neuroscientists who have claimed that the vibrations created by mantras or even the Sanskrit shlokas can work wonderfully well. I will give you, though it is personal, I would like to quote here. When my husband suffered a paralytic stroke 7 years back, he could not pronounce, his right side got affected. Now he's perfectly well. So Shefali also knows him perhaps. Tomorrow he'll be coming. So what I did on him was, Maheshwara Sutrani, Ayun Ruluk, Eo Gayo, Chayavarat, Lan Chayabai, Gadadash, Jabagadash, Kapa Chatata Chatata, Kapai Shasar Hal. The 14 Maheshwara Sutrani, I gave him in writing, and I tried him to pronounce it without break. Without break. That was one thing. Secondly, which I mean, you can also try it because it is a tested and proven good theory of mine. And his was like Talavya swaras were little, Ikare, Ichu Yashanam Talu was little difficult for him. And the Murdhanya also, Rutu Rashana Murdha. So I made him do the Barakhadi, write it for his motor nerves, writing also, and pronounce it while writing. Tat ta tit tit tut tut tit tit tot tot tam taha. Tat tat tit tit. That also helped. So, and I have learnt some examples. I mean, this is there in Jnaneshwari, before 10th chapter of Jnaneshwari. Jnaneshwar Mauli has written some 10 OVs. They are called OVs, but they are Samskrita Prachura. And somebody told me, why don't you try that? I tried that also. But all cumulative, collective effort, maybe collective result, but it resulted really well. And another thing is Ramaraksha Stotra. It is miraculous. Ramaraksha Stotra, it is Raksha Kavacha. It's basically a Kavacha. So those who look down upon the Kavacha and the Argala and the other things, there is some bija, there is some stuff in all these mantras. So that is the answer to your second question.
And I know at least 4 or 5 people who have healed because of the Sanskrit chanting from stroke, actually.
Yes.
And of course, this Shravana part.
And the Medha
this will-
Sukta, which
Medha
was
Sukta,
recited. In fact, one of my friends is a Yajurvedi Brahmana, Satpurkar, and Deshastha Rigvedi, no, not Yajurvedi, Deshastha Rigvedi. And in Vileparle, there is a Deshastha Rigvedi Samaj. So there he made this
Medha
was
Suktam.
done an experiment.
Oh.
And on the, what you can say, special children.
Oh,
Special children, he did this experiment and they could speak.
Excellent. Now they've indicated the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Excuse
It's time up.
Amazing, ma'am. Very enlightening.